Welcome back to the program. Recently, the app behind the vote counting scandal in the Iowa caucuses has come under scrutiny, and one U.S. official is speaking out. One America's Jack Posobiec sat down with Congressman Lance Gooden to discuss the issue. Take a look.
We are very excited to welcome here to One America News Congressman Lance Gooden from Texas. Congressman, thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you.
Now, you had some very interesting tweets recently that caught my attention, caught a lot of attention here in Washington, D.C. about the Iowa caucus results or the lack thereof. Tell me, what were you seeing there?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It started the weekend before, a few days before. A poll was supposed to come out that always comes out, and then suddenly those results were withheld. And if you recall, there were campaigns praising the Des Moines Register, I believe it was, for not releasing those results. And that's when I first thought, okay, they're already setting the stage. Joe Biden is losing in these polls. They're trying to save face for Joe, and they're already trying to change the outcome, perhaps. And then on election night, when these results should have been coming out, we were looking at reporting, and zero of the results were out. At one point, I remember a commentator on CNN said that the results at this point 4 years prior were 90-something% reported, and at that point in time they were at 0%. And so we found out that upon further review that this Shadow company, the name of it is Shadow, that produced the app that was designed to be a reporting tool for these county parties, was actually very historically in bed with the Clinton team. People that had put together this app had been Clinton supporters, Clinton campaign workers, and then it's just kind of been baffling to see how these Clinton surrogates of the past have been involved with a reporting process that we found perhaps protected candidates who were going to lose that night. And now we don't know.
So isn't there some kind of issue there in terms of conflict of interest when you have a clearly partisan team, clearly partisan organization that's conducting vote tabulation as opposed to mere services for candidates and campaigns?
Yes, there is, and what they would argue is, well, this is a Democratic caucus, a Democratic primary, a Democratic decision-making process. And even if you concede that point, that okay, fine, if it's partisan, since it's a partisan process and it's only the Democrats who are actually voting and whatnot, what's interesting is that the Hillary backers of the past, I mean, just a few weeks ago you had Hillary talking about Bernie Sanders in unpositive terms, and saying that he was a miserable person and not liked by anyone. And we've seen these Clinton backers of the past insert themselves into this process, and it's really fascinating. When I talked to Democrats the night of the State of the Union across the aisle, it was a varied response. Some Democrats said, I can't believe we messed this up. Others said, they're already trying to keep Bernie from winning, just like they did the last time. And then a few even blame the Russians. It's crazy to me that there are Democrats who are still using this Russian blame tool in a way to further their talking point, that the Russians, that all roads lead to Russia. It's bizarre, but conflicts of interest are absolutely present in this controversy.
Now, do you think this is something that anyone from the FEC might want to look into, given the nature of the fact that just looking on the surface level of this company, it seems that they're mixing political money that's coming from the campaigns along with money that's going towards these counting of the votes?
The answer is maybe. I don't know. The FEC doesn't seem to be all over enforcement actions lately. I believe they're very slow to respond. I've seen that in enforcement actions that we've been tracking. But there's definitely a conflict there. I think probably one of the biggest impacts that this will have is this will eliminate Iowa's position as a state where people look to for guidance and to kind of kick off the presidential nominating contest. I would even think that this will harm in future presidential election years when Republicans in an open seat, long after President Trump leaves office in 4 years, when Republicans are fighting it out for the nomination. I would think that Iowa will be less on the radar moving forward.
Congressman Lance Gooden, thank you so much for your time and sitting down with us.
Thanks.
One American News.
Thanks.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.